So what are the things you should include on your baby registry? Stick around to find out. Welcome to the DeConta channel, where we discuss all things educational and we never duck away from difficult topics. Being a new mama is already overwhelming enough as it is. So here's the scoop on pretty much all of the necessary things you'll need to get started. Oh, and by the way, there is a pre-made baby and mama Amazon list linked in the description below for your convenience so that you can just steal those items that you like from this video and put them on your own baby registry. So let's jump right in with the first most important category. If you actually intend on taking your little one home with you, the most important thing that you can get is car safety equipment. The biggest item in this category is, of course, a brand new car seat. Now, don't be tempted to go out and buy a used car seat because you never know what it's been through. Yeah, you might save yourself a few bucks, but you don't know if that person checked in the car seat and had it tossed around in the belly of an airplane or dropped it, or if it had been in a car crash already. So err on the side of caution here and be sure to plan your baby budget around purchasing a brand new car seat. And if you really do need to save some money, save it elsewhere. Like for the stroller, for example. You can typically find the click and go version that will accommodate to your car seat somewhere on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, if that's even still an option that's used, OfferUp, or even Once Upon a Child or thrift stores. Look there first for those strollers that would match or be compatible with your car seat. Don't skimp out on the car seat. The next logical question you're probably thinking is, well, but which car seat? There's like 100 of them on the market. That's a great question. And yes, you're right. There are a lot of car seats out there. So we're gonna go over the car seat safety and logistics in next week's video. But for now, I have linked some of my personal favorites in that Amazon list that I pre-created for you that I mentioned earlier, linked in the description below. While we're on the topic of car equipment safety, you'll probably also want to get yourself a baby on board sticker for the window or one of those ones that just kind of like suction cup on, just so that if you were incapacitated from a crash or an accident, the paramedics would know that there's still an infant inside your car that they need to tend to. You'll also want a shatterproof headrest mirror so that you can check on your infant while you're driving. Specifically, you do not want one with a toggle headrest that you can adjust because those can pop off in the event of a crash and slam into your little one. You want the ones that have double buckles around the back headrest. And if you want to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes, I highly recommend the screens that go over the entire window itself. This way, if you are in a crash, the glass will hopefully, maybe, perhaps, have a chance at being within that screen. And if you were thinking about getting those pull down ones or the ones that suction cup onto the window, not so much a good idea because in a crash, again, they could pop off and slam into your little one. Not ideal. The next category all involves your baby's sleep. The American Academy of Pediatrics, or AAP for short, recommends that you have your baby sleep in the same room as you, but not in the same bed, for at least the first 6 months. So if you happen to be limited on space in the room that you yourself sleep in, I highly recommend getting a pack and play with a bassinet insert in it, or getting a portable, foldable bassinet itself to keep beside your bed. Or if you happen to have enough space, you've got all of that nice space to burn in your own room, then you could jump right into just getting a crib and my personal favorite, the Newton baby mattress. I have personally squashed my entire face into the Newton mattress and could still breathe comfortably through it. So in order to relieve my own anxiety, and if you deal with that too, and the idea of your baby like suffocating in their sleep or anything, if that's something that makes you panic, the Newton mattress is the way to go. But no matter which option you choose, whether that be a pack and play bassinet, a foldable portable bassinet, or right to the crib option with the Newton mattress, make sure that you've chosen a mattress that is firm. You don't want a soft mattress because again, there's that whole suffocation risk. Also, you want to make sure that any crib sheets that you put over over the mattress or the bassinet or the pack and play insert has a tight fit around all the edges, so no loose bunching up of fabric. And you'd want to make sure that the sides of the bassinet or the pack and play or the crib are breathable. So don't put bumpers or anything on that would obscure their breathing ability if their face was to smush into it. And on a side note here, be sure not to add anything cutesy to the crib. Yeah, it looks adorable and it's great for a photo op, but don't let your baby sleep in a crib that's loaded with pillows, blankies, bumpers, stuffies, or any other things that they could smush their face into and suffocate in. As for what your baby wears to sleep, I personally prefer the knotted or zippered nightgowns. They make midnight diaper changes so much easier. Just trust me on this and ex-nay all of the millions of little buttons and do yourself a favor, because who wants to button a million little metal buttons in the dark at 2 a.m.? No one. No one wants to do that. We know that we will continue to provide a safe sleeping space without bumpers or anything that could cause some kind of suffocation hazard for our infant, but having a breathing monitoring device, whether that's the clip like the Mon Baby or some of those video camera ones where they can watch the chest go up and down, can really bring a lot of relief to mamas that can't find sleep through the night because they're worrying about their baby not breathing, which I totally get. I'm in the same boat. So if that's you, I highly recommend finding some kind of breathing monitoring device to set your mind at ease. And now you'll need to consider the category that contains all of the mess of bowel movements for both you and your newborn, actually. For your baby, you'll probably want some size newborn and size 1 diapers on hand, ready to go in whatever brand of diaper you choose. For us, Huggies worked really great, but Pampers or some other off-brand might work better for you. I recommend having a few different options available just in case one fits your little one better than another. And if you live in a 2-story home like we do, then you probably don't want to be going up and down the stairs just to throw out a dirty diaper every single time you need to. So I also highly recommend the Ubi steel diaper pail. This one is really great because you can just put normal scented garbage bags into it. You don't need like the special genie bags or anything else that'll cost you a pretty penny in the long run. You can just go buy bulk at Costco or Sam's Club and get a huge pack of scented Febreze garbage bags and you're good to go. But sometimes if you need to leave that bag in there for longer than anticipated, you might also want to invest in an Arm & Hammer baking soda puck just to kind of mask the scent of fermenting urine and poo in diapers inside that pail. Additionally, you could just buy a normal foot-activated garbage can where you step on the bottom pedal and the top opens for you conveniently. But the nice thing about the Ubi pail is that you can put a child lock on it so that when they're older and little toddler fingers are getting into everything, you can lock that diaper pail without having to worry about them exploring the garbage with their pee and poo in it. So fun. I've seen many arguments online from lots of different mamas talking about whether or not a changing station is actually necessary. All I can tell you is that from my personal experience and my lower back and my knees, I would personally not have survived without a dedicated changing space. Now, whether your space is a jerry-rigged wooden frame that's screwed on top of the dresser or, on top of one of those cubbies, you've just got a changing pad secured to it in some fashion. Either way, for your own sanity, I really do recommend that you have at least a changing pad in a designated space where you can have your diapers and your wipes ready to go. But no, it doesn't have to be like the special standalone changing station. Make your own. Make it up as you go, but have a spot where you can change them. Speaking of wipes, you'll also want to stock up on wipes, and I mean a lot of wipes. And I personally preferred getting one of those plastic bins that were empty and just getting the large refillable wipe packages. They're cheaper that way, and you can just keep putting the wipes into the plastic container instead of the pre-packaged flip-top wipes, which are great for travel, but if you're home, you might as well use the cheaper option. It's the same thing. You'll also want at least 1 tub of Aquaphor baby healing ointment and at least 1 tube of Bordeaux's baby butt paste. In order to save your fingers from needing to be washed every time you apply these ointments, I also highly recommend a silicone butt brush. toothbrush or butt spatula. And if you happen to be like my hubby, then you'll probably also want 1 box of nitrile gloves as you change your little one for sanitary purposes. And again, all of those things are linked in that list below for your convenience. Now, if you're choosing to roll with the whole cloth diaper option, then awesome, good for you. But you're still probably going to want some disposable diapers on hand so that if you're out and about in public, traveling around, you can just toss the dirty diaper out and you don't have to worry about dragging along a gross dirty diaper with you that's cloth. In addition to purchasing a cloth diaper cleaning service, which is pretty cool and I mean, definitely worth it, at least for the first 3 to 6 months while you're still recovering from pushing a human out of an impossibly small hole and your own lack of sleep during those first 3 to 6 months. And while we're on the topic of diapers, it's also a great idea for you to get a box of adult diapers. You can plan on bleeding for at least the next 2 weeks after giving birth, so postpartum bleeding, and it's a lot easier to clean up all that mess in addition to cleaning up the messes of your newborn's diaper if you yourself are also wearing a diaper. Don't worry, they make some pretty cute like bamboo stretchy ones too, so they don't have to look like granny panties. You can still look cute in postpartum bleed-proof underpants. And trying to go poop postpartum is also a not so fun adventure. So you may wish to invest in some stool softener, flushable wipes, hemorrhoid witch hazel pads, a peri bottle, a numbing aerosol spray, and instant ice maxi pads. That is, assuming the hospital doesn't send you home with any of those items anyways. The next bit that you need to consider for your registry is all of the things about feeding your baby. Now, what you need in this category is highly dependent upon whether or not you intend to formula feed, breastfeed, or exclusively pump and then bottle feed the breast milk, or any combination of those options. Now, even if you are only planning to directly feed from your nipple, I still highly recommend that you get yourself a portable, rechargeable breast pump because your insurance should cover it anyways, and portable and rechargeable so that you're not stuck to an outlet in a wall somewhere, which, if you're like me, would drive you absolutely insane. My personal favorite pump is the Spectra S1. That's the blue one, because that's the one that you can charge in the wall and then take out of the wall as you're walking around the house, and you can keep pumping on the go. Or you can even get yourself a completely hands-free, app-operated from your phone pump that fits right into your bra, so you're not using your hands at all. Whichever option you happen to choose, be sure to get yourself a car charger that fits your pump specifically, because you never want to be on the go and then stuck with a dead pump that's not gonna work with really full breasts. And if you're gonna have the pump, you might as well make sure that you also get yourself some additional flanges, tubing, bottle adapters, and any extra storage bags like the Lancinoa ones or the Kindy ones. Those are great if you have a separate adapter to attach to your pump so that you can pump directly into the bag itself instead of pumping into a bottle and then dumping the bottle into the bag, therefore saving you one extra dish that you don't have to wash in the never-ending pile of dishes. Speaking of pumping milk or breastfeeding in general, your nipples are likely to get nasty sore at some point. So I do highly recommend the gel Soothie pads. And if you get these, be sure to keep the little plastic disc that they came on because they're reusable. You can use them more than once. And once you use it, you want to put the gel sticky side back down on something sanitary. And you can also get these nipple shields that you put over your nipples to protect your nipple if they happen to be really, really sore, and give them a break that day. Also, it can really help your little one latch if you need them to, and if they're having a hard time latching. And also, to prevent them from getting dry or cracking, you might want some lanolin-free nipple cream. You may also get clogged milk ducts, as I frequently did, and the only way I survived that horribly painful clogged milk duct conundrum was by taking sunflower lecithin. Mark my words, you will need these soft gels on hand if you are prone to clogged milk ducts. And although it's not 100% necessary, it certainly is a lot easier to get the right angle and comfortable position to feed your infant in if you're breastfeeding if you purchase a My Breast Friend nursing pillow. I love their pun, by the way, kudos to that company, and a nice glider chair. Now, if you're planning on pumping and feeding or formula feeding, then you'll need to play around with some different bottle brands to see what your little one likes. After experimenting many different kind of brands, and I mean like Komotomo, Dr. Brown's, Avent, pretty much all of the ones that are out there, I tried it. I personally preferred, and my little one didn't mind which one it was, the Avent natural glass bottles. They have a nice wide opening, which makes them really easy to clean, and the fact that they're glass means that I can just plop them in the dishwasher with our other dishes and have the dishwasher take care of a huge burden of the dishes. The nipple design itself on these Avent glass bottles also still encourages breastfeeding, and there were no little intricate parts that you had to spend hours washing like we did with the Dr. Brown's bottles. Oh, what a headache. But again, which bottle your baby will drink from is highly dependent on what their say in the matter is too. So don't go overboard buying all one brand of bottle before you know that they will take that bottle first. As a side note here, a huge bonus to the Avent glass bottles is that you can directly screw them into the Spectra S1 flanges and then just feed your baby right from the bottle from your breast, as opposed to making more dirty dishes for yourself. For breast milk and formula feeding, you're going to want a way that gently mixes either the breast milk or the formula without creating bubbles, and a means of heating it up without using the microwave. I personally used a small handheld milk frother, since that made it possible for me to mix in formula with my breast milk to supplement without creating little bubbles inside the solution, and thus hopefully preventing colic. And I also used and still use an electric kettle to thaw breast milk or warm up formula or warm up cow's milk now at this point with my toddler. It has the added bonus of being able to make myself some tea water, and it's also able to sterilize your bottles and nipples and tops and what have you, all the parts and pieces, in a very short amount of time. However, if this is out of your price range or budget, you can still DIY the same concept by taking a cup, an oversized cup, and filling it with some hottish water and putting your breast milk bag into that water or the formula or whatever else that you need warmed. As for the type of formula you would need, that's also highly dependent upon your little one's preferences. For example, my daughter couldn't stomach the Enfamil formula, but she did handle very well the Gerber Good Start with Comforting Probiotics formula. So be sure to test out multiple different formulas to see what your little one can tolerate best and which one doesn't give them reflux or colic. With all of the bottles and breast pump parts and everything else getting covered with milk and who knows what, you're gonna need an effective means to wash and dry all of those pieces. My personal favorite soap is the Dapple Baby Bottle and Dish fragrance-free soap, along with a Dr. Brown's bottle brush to get any intricate parts. And a super useful drying unit is the Boone Grass Rack. Side note, I always put a paper towel underneath the Boone Grass to make cleaning it out a lot easier in the long run. Last but certainly not least, within this category of feeding your baby, you must absolutely buy yourself some plain white cloth diapers. They are useful for literally everything. Spit up, burp rag, blankies, makeshift bibs, drool rags, you name it. They can do it. Don't bother wasting your money on all of the cutesy printed little burp rags and whatever else that are too small to even fit over your shoulder and protect your own clothes. Just go with the plain white cloth diapers, and they're multifunctional and also a lot cheaper. On to the next category. Be prepared to drown yourself in, drumroll please, laundry. Between blowouts up the back and down the legs or spit up all over themselves and you and your cute outfit, the two laundry essentials you should have on hand are a good gentle laundry detergent and a good stain remover. I really like using the Dreft laundry detergent just because I absolutely adore the smell of it, but if you're concerned with what the Environmental Working Group, or EWG, the same group that started the whole vaccines cause autism, then they've said that Dreft laundry detergent isn't the best, then you can use pretty much any other gentle laundry detergent. And if you're really concerned, you can go on their website and see what they have to say about it. Although me personally as a chemist, I don't see anything wrong with the chemicals that are in Dreft laundry detergent. And to save cost here, really you can just use whatever laundry detergent you use with your clothes, so long as it doesn't cause some weird allergic skin reaction for your little one. As for the stain remover itself, I use either the Dreft spray stain remover or some form of OxyClean product. The next category is about leaving your house with baby. My biggest recommendation for this category is to get yourself a lightweight stroller that is easy to open with one hand. You want to be able to both open and close this stroller down with one hand. If it can't do that, don't even bother. It's not worth your time or money. Also, try and find one that isn't super wide. It takes up a lot of space. You want one that's just a little bit more narrow, in my opinion. Both the Chico and Graco brands of strollers worked great for me, but I personally preferred the Chico brand because they were more lightweight and they were a bit less bulky than the Graco brands were. Either way, I would attach a universal baby stroller organizer to the handle to give myself some extra space for snacks and drinks and so on and so forth. And I'd also attach multiple carabiner clips to the bar that goes in front of the child and to the side to put my water bottle on or my daughter's snacks onto, her little snack containers or her sippy cup, so that when she checks them, they don't end up on the floor in a public place. And of course, to leave the house, you're gonna need a diaper bag and some kind of changing station that's sanitary. I like the foldable Velcro changing station because if you're in a pinch, you can always just take that instead of just the diaper bag. And the diaper bag is great, obviously, to keep in the trunk of your car if you need extra diapers, you need soap, you need extra changes of outfits, burp rags, or anything like that. You keep that all in the diaper bag, which I highly recommend you should get a backpack so that you're not killing yourself with a side strap diaper bag carrier of some kind. Then there's the category of hygiene, illness, and owies. For the hygiene's sake part of this category, I recommend using the Honest Company lavender soap for both shampoo and body wash, and moisturizing with Dapple baby lotion. And for keeping those razor sharp little talon daggers in check, you'll want to get some baby nail scissors. I prefer the scissors over the clippers because I feel like you have more control over the scissors and they're sharper, so they'll cut the nail right the first time. Eventually, whether it is to manage a cold or to deal with teething pains, you're gonna need some acetaminophen and baby Motrin. If you go based off of my daughter's taste buds, then you'll want to get the berry flavors of each of these. Specifically, the Little Remedies acetaminophen is her favorite because it's the berry flavored one, and the baby Motrin berry flavored one, both of which come in a no dye option, which will also save clothes and other items that said dye might get into. Now, if your baby does get a cold, an absolute must-have is the nose Frida. Yes, you have to suck the boogers out of their nose using your mouth, and yes, it's gross, but it's so worth it in order to have your little one be able to breathe efficiently again. Another thing to help your little one breathe through a cold is getting a humidifier. Something like the Vicks Cold Vapor humidifier works great, and you don't have to worry about filters for that either. And having some Clorox or Lysol sanitizing wipes on hand will also help you, hopefully, get through their sickness without getting sick yourself. As for the owies, the most typical infant owies we get to deal with are those related to their tummies. I found that the easiest way to help my daughter through some of the really horrible tummy pains was by using some simethicone gas drops and the Windy. Once you get over the weirdness of needing to stick the Windy into your infant's anus, it actually works really great at helping them release any extra trapped flatulence, and beware, if you do use it, can also help relieve poo coming out quite quickly. Just make sure this is a kind of last alternative use and that you're not using it all the time. You should really only use it if other methods aren't helping get your baby's gas out. And the last category is, of course, all of the other random miscellaneous stuff, like clothes, blankies, swaddles, jumpers, carriers, toys, swings, and all of that jazz. But I've found that most of these items are not things to stress over because you'll practically be drowning in them if you happen to have a baby shower, or if you happen to go through a thrift store or anything like that. They are so easy to come by. Definitely check out Facebook Marketplace for those items. Or talk to any previous moms who probably have tubs of clothes that they would shove onto you. However, if you'd like a place to start for your own brand new clothing for your little one, I highly recommend that you only choose clothing options that have the 3 little buttons on the crotch. So like the onesies that only have 3 buttons, not the full button suits. Just don't do it. Don't do those. Or the zippered or the knotted nightgowns that I mentioned earlier for easier midnight diaper changes. Cotton socks or little Velcro booties that they can't kick off because the socks go missing all the time to keep their little feetsies warm. A couple of soft bamboo hats to keep their heads warm. Some mittens to prevent them from scratching themselves. And 1 or 2 large, stretchy bamboo swaddle blankets, which will double as really cute blankies to use when you're done swaddling them later. But overall, the type of swaddle your baby likes will also depend on their personality. They might prefer the Halo sleep sack, for example, where you can just Velcro their arms shut inside the sleep sack. So don't go overboard buying a whole bunch of one brand or product before you know what your baby likes. When it comes to carriers or slings, that's mostly dependent on what you're comfortable with and how much effort you're willing to put in to learn how to use it. The slings require quite a bit of origami to get used to putting them on your body. So if you're gonna use those, I recommend using them at home where you have the time to kind of figure out how to put it on. The carriers that have clips or buckles are a lot easier to use when you're on the go and out and about in public. Or maybe you don't want a baby wear at all. Totally up to you. Swings and jumpers are also highly dependent upon your little one's personality. My girl hated the swing, and she sort of disliked the Mamaroo as well, but I've heard of other moms having great success with swings and the Mamaroo. My brother, for example, would have never slept if it wasn't for the swing. The only thing I can recommend about the swing is that you get one that's a little bit more compact and not super wide, so it doesn't take over your entire living room space. And also find one that you can adjust to lay flat or somewhat flat so that your infant's chin doesn't go to their chest and obstruct their breathing, which is the same reason why you don't leave an infant in a car seat for longer than 2 hours. As for the jumpers, you'll definitely want to give one a try. My daughter happened to love her jumper, but trust me when I say that they have an overstock of those at thrift stores like Once Upon a Child, so you don't necessarily need to buy one brand new. Toys such as play mats with overhanging objects to visually stimulate your little one, or rattles, for example, are all great things to have on hand. But I just recommend you don't go overboard purchasing them all yourself because the likelihood of other people wanting to get them for you is pretty high. And before you know it, you'll end up drowning in so much of it that you don't know where to put it all. Now that we've gone through all the categories of the things that I think are must-haves to have for newborn and new mama, hopefully you're a little less overwhelmed, unlike how I felt through this week 31 of pregnancy. The Braxton Hicks started up in full force this week, which of course sent my anxiety flying through the roof, especially since I delivered my first 5 weeks early. So I've already been pretty on edge about this whole Braxton Hicks thing. And there was even one day where I had more than 30 Braxton Hicks occurring. I was so nervous that I even started timing my contractions on my app just to make sure there wasn't an emerging pattern that would send me to labor and delivery right away. Good news, no pattern detected, but still high anxiety. It's also been pretty difficult to breathe with her butt constantly invading my right lung space to the point where I can't expand my right lung all the way really at any point from here on forwards. But the bonus is that I can feel her moving all the time now, which is great. And she definitely lets me sleep through the night. So she moves through the day with me and then is like completely quiet in there through the night. So I'm pretty grateful about that, since I know a lot of other moms don't have that beautiful luxury. And what does our little mover look like this week? And what are they up to in there? Our little one is definitely over 15.5 inches or 39.4 centimeters by now, probably within the range of 16.5 to 17.5 inches realistically. So roughly the length of the pineapple as shown in the model here. And he or she weighs anywhere between 3.5 to 4 pounds or 1.6 to 1.8 kilograms. But keep in mind that at this point during gestation, babies' heights and lengths are highly variable, so it's much harder to generalize for everyone from here on forwards. Being that our little one is more flexible in their joints now overall, they can turn their head from side to side, which also makes it possible for them to assault us from the inside with their kicks and their punches and their somersaulting in general. And as mentioned before, all of their senses are fully intact now. So sing loudly away and rub your belly every day because they can feel your touch. And the continued goal for our babies from here on forwards is still packing on all of that body fat underneath their skin and growing their brains, developing lots of little ridges in there. So they currently actually look a lot like this baby doll, almost exactly. Now, whether you're able to purchase any of those items or not, please keep in mind that the most important thing that baby has is you. And you also need to make sure that you take some time to take care of yourself through this transition into motherhood. It's not gonna be easy. And the first 6 months of your life having the newborn at home are probably gonna feel like your whole life is turned upside down. But hang in there, mama, you got this. And as for buying items in general, my biggest token of advice for you is to get things that are multi-functional. This way, you won't end up with a bunch of clutter and you can just use things that are good for other things too. For example, the electric tea kettle that acts as a baby bottle warmer, but can also make your tea water and can also sterilize bottles because it boils water in like 60 seconds. Those are great things to get so they don't add clutter to your house. But what item or items would you add to my must-have list that I've gone through in this video? I'd love to hear what you consider to be a must-have item in the comments below. Now, these videos take quite a bit of time to make, but it would only cost you 1 second to like this one. To join me next week in this 40-week pregnancy series following my own pregnancy all the way through birth, all you have to do is subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you're a little less overwhelmed with making your own baby registry now. See you next week.